So let us begin with this chanting. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavi bhiriritam kalmashabaham sravana mangalam srimadatam bhuvi grinanti e bhuridajanaha. Here, Tava means God. Tava, that God we are going to discuss today, mainly the emphasis has been given on the God, conception of God. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna again and again, he is mentioning about the God. Who is this God? Is he the creator? Is he the sustainer? Can he take the form? Can we see him? So many questions are there all the time haunting our minds. So this Tava is very clearly mentioning about the God. Kathamritam, the words, the teachings, the sermons that he has given. So that believing there is God, believing that he gives the sermons to guide us, to help us, and if we follow that, our life becomes completely full, peaceful, happy, and contented. So that is exactly what we gain from the spirituality and religion. Master Varsha, who noted, is mentioning about a date, Wednesday, October 1st, 1884. Sri Ramakrishna has set out from Dakshineshwar for author's house in Calcutta. Sri Ramakrishna used to live in Dakshineshwar, and a few hours they used to drive by the horse-drawn carriage. And two young boys are accompanying him, Narayan and Gangadhar, were with him. In the carriage, in an ecstatic mood, he said, and this is very important, he is going to meet the devotees in Calcutta. And that was his system, to go and to meet the devotees, to talk to them, and to inspire them, to guide them. And he is going over there. Usually, the holy people, and mostly it is Calcutta, it is Bengal, the majority of the people used to follow the Vaishnava Dharma. And the Vaishnavas, they will always take a japamala and go on in the name of God. So people always, they used to consider that they are very holy people because taking the name of God. When they have gone to the market or anywhere, they'll be carrying that. Suddenly, Sri Ramakrishna in the carriage, in an ecstatic mood, he is telling, shall I count the beads? How shameful that would be. So this is a very interesting sentence. How shameful that would be. This emblem of Shiva has sprung from the walls of earth. It is self-created and not set up by man's hands. Now the two things where I see that suddenly the Sri Ramakrishna, he is mentioning, shall I take the name of God by counting the beads? That means I am showing to the people that I am taking the name of God. So it says that in a Bengali poem, in that way they say, if you are counting the beads, you are the third great devotee. That means you need some support to take the name of God. And if you are counting your finger, in the finger we count, then is second grade. But the first is he who can constantly remember God. So this is the gradation. When we begin with the counting the beads. And if the bead is hanging in my hand, it is a reminder to me that I have to take the name of God. This is in the beginning. But why it should be all the time? All the time, every moment, when we are taking the breathing and like that, we are not conscious about when you are breathing in and breathing out. It is normal, natural. The taking the name of God should be also like that. Natural, normal, constant, every moment. So that is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. And then he is giving a hint about himself. So why we take the name of God? To realize God. Why we meditate on God? To realize God. And what the God will do? The God himself will do. So he is mentioning like this, a Patal Pura Shiv. This is in Bengali they say. That is from the originally it is coming out. The Shiva, usually the people will give a shape of the Shiva maybe on with the mud or on the stone like that, but not original. And no one is creating. So he is mentioning he is God himself. Those who have read the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, you know, before the birth of Sri Ramakrishna, his mother, she was standing along with her friends before a small Shiva temple. It's still there in his birthplace, Kamarpukur. And when she was standing there, suddenly no other ladies couldn't see. She only saw a great waves of light is coming out from that small Shiva temple and entered into her person. And she said, look at that, and then she fainted. Shiva entered into her person, and Shiva is Sri Ramakrishna. So he is mentioning in that way that this is the Shiva. They arrived at Adhar's house, where many devotees, including Kedar, Baburam, Vijay, had assembled. We also follow the same tradition. Whenever the devotee they invite us, we always say, invite other people too. If I alone go and talk to you and have a cup of tea, no, invite others. And there always, what I follow, I always allow them to chat and talk and socialize and the food and all, but little, maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, we will have some discussion. Some people, at least the question will come, is the Swamiji, whatever he is telling us is true? I don't believe, I can't believe. Like these things will at least happen. So the waves will be there in the minds of the human being who are in reality, whether they know it or not, believe it or not, gods. So that is exactly what we also try to do, because Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he taught us this is the way you should have to work, missionaries work. Now other people have also come. When the master entered Adhar's drawing room, the stood up to receive him. Kedar and Vijay saluted him. These are the famous names. Those who are again and again read the biography, they know. Kedar and Vijay. Vijay was also a spiritual leader, and Kedar was a person who used to work in an office in Dhaka, in those days in presently Bangladesh capital. So he used to work over there, but people used to come to him because he was a Brahmin. And the Brahmin in those days, they used to talk about the religion, the God, all people used to come to him. So Kedar and Vijay. Vijay, though he was a devotee and he was the family lineage from a Vaishnava, but he at that moment, he was a teacher of Brahma Samaj. But still, he was also giving the teaching of the religion, and Kedar too. So Kedar and Vijay, they were all there. And there the Narayan, Balaram to salute. And here we find Sri Ramakrishna is asking Kedar and Vijay to bless these two young boys who accompanied Sri Ramakrishna. Why? Because they are also religious teachers. They also teach us religion. The Sri Ramakrishna is so humble. And Sri Ramakrishna respects those who are teaching the religion, who are teaching religion, following religion, practicing religion. So he is here asking them to bless these two young boys. And he is telling, he is utterly guileless about the Narayan, the one boy, about him he is telling. You see, he is utterly guileless. This is a very important quality to become spiritual. Guilelessness, simplicity. Everything should be taken very simply. Otherwise, many of the people, whenever they hear something, immediately they will start thinking, why he glanced at me like that? Why he told me this? Why he was mentioning that? All this unnecessarily, they will go on thinking and creating problem for themselves and problem for others around him. So here he is guileless. The eyes of the devotees were fixed on the two boys. Because Sri Ramakrishna appreciated them, he took them along with him. So naturally they were also noticing. Master together and other devotees. It is good that I have met you all here. Otherwise, perhaps you would have come to the Kali temple to see me. And this is through the will of God, however, we have met here. Sri Ramakrishna is answering. This is because the will of God. From here, discussion begins. Now the Kedar with folded hands. Kedar is a very good devotee. Will of God, it is all your will. Because he actually accepted Sri Ramakrishna as the God himself. The will of God, it is your will. Sri Ramakrishna smiled. But he didn't continue with that discussion. He asked a person, there was a Vaishnava Charan, he asked him to sing the bhajans. And the bhajan prepared the mind, when you were thinking about God and the good bhajans, that prepared the mind. So he was asking Vaishnava Charan, and Vaishnava Charan sang. And this gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, if you so big volume, most of the part is songs, so many times in so different way. And Sri Ramakrishna went into ecstasy and started dancing. And they also started dancing, other devotees. And here, he comes down. Kedar and several devotees stood up. They were about to return home. Kedar saluted the master and bade him goodbye. Master, should you go away without bidding other goodbye? Because we have all come to other's house. And without telling other that we are going away, how can you go? Wouldn't that be an act of discourtesy? Look, this is Sri Ramakrishna. Look at it. So careful about everything. So when a man is trying to realize God, becoming a spiritual, only visiting temple won't do. Each and every time, in every step of your life, you have to be very, very cautious. Am I doing everything right? Why? Because that helps the mind conscious of everything that I do. When you sit for meditation, that time also the same consciousness will come. Now I am sitting for meditation and I should meditate. And now I have come to the behave as they are. So when you enter into somebody's house, we always ask, where should we sit? They won't mind if I sit anywhere. But that is the courtesy that if they have kept a seat for me, I should go and sit over there. And when you go to, when you visit any ashrama, you always obey the Swami in charge over there. Maybe they are junior by age and seniority, but still, whatever he will say, we will follow that. So this is the courtesy, and that gives the mind a training. Sri Ramakrishna is asking a person like him, but Kedar had something else in his mind that we'll come to know afterwards. So he wanted to go away. Why? Because the other was arranging food. This is a thing that Hinduism, that Hindu society, they were so much attached to that particular idea, food. and look at Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. When God is pleased, the world is pleased. He is very clever. He is telling Sri Ramakrishna, you are God. If you are pleased, tasmin tushte jagat tushta. If you are pleased, then everything is pleased. You are staying, so in a sense, we are all staying. So he is giving it the fallacy. I am not feeling well. Besides, then he is mentioning, I am a little nervous about my social conventions. Once before, I had trouble with our community. And Master Masha, he is giving the footnote. There he is mentioning, other belong to a lower caste. And Kedar, a Brahmin, is not able to dine with him or eat at his home. So that Master Masha disclosed. And Kedar didn't say that. The Kedar was mentioning, I have some problem, so he wanted to avoid the food. Previously he ate and his own community didn't allow that. That was the situation that I think last year we were having our retreats. In one of the retreats we had this discussion, and like this in September we had our fall banquet. All our Swamis, one after another, they were telling the Hinduism at the time of the Veda, Hinduism at the time of the Upanishad, Hinduism at the time of Bhagavad Gita, Hinduism before Sri Ramakrishna, Hinduism after Sri Ramakrishna. So all this total Hinduism picture before Sri Ramakrishna. This was the problem. All over the society, because we were suppressed by the Muslims for a long, long time. And we forgot everything about our originality. And whenever there is an oppression in the society and lawlessness in the society, obviously the original people, they go into the backward, and those who doesn't know anything, they will take the lead. And that happened in India. So all these things that we see now, you should not touch this, you should not eat that, you should not go there. All these things came into the Hindu body because of this misconception. And Sri Ramakrishna came to remove that. And how he is removing? He is not going on taking, we have to fight, we have to do this. No social reform. He is changing that by practicing himself. He became so much accepted by the Didain society. He is a spiritual leader, a religious leader, a God himself. And now when he is doing this, then there is no problem. So this is what Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning. Sri Ramakrishna is to visit different type of places where the holy people are not supposed to go. Holy people are supposed only to stay in the temple, sometimes going in the forest like that. And he used to visit museums, Sri Ramakrishna, to go and see what is happening and what are the things. Then he saw in that Asiatic museum, there's a human skull, human bone, and he was telling, see, this is a human. And we are so proud of us, and this is in reality, this is human. Over that only, a skin and some blood and flesh. So why should you be so much egoistic? I am so and so. In reality, this is the original. He used to teach his devotees. He used to go to the Jew and to see, and seeing a lion, he remembered the divine Mother Durga. In every being, even in the animals, the presence of the divinity is there. He used to go to the movie theaters in those days, and then he'll be observing that how the people are acting. And in those days, mostly the religious books, so they used to perform, and he'll be crying. And all the devotees, they used to seriously take those things and learn how it should be, the devotion. So everywhere, in every sphere of life, he was changing from the ordinary worldly thoughts to the spirituality. Wherever you go, you can change because you see everything completely in a spiritual viewpoint. and Sri Ramakrishna asking him. Just then, when the discussion was going on and this man was trying to go away, just an author came. Author was a deputy magistrate in those days. A deputy magistrate means is a big officer. In the British time, an Indian becoming a deputy magistrate is a big thing. So when he came, naturally they could not say no. Author came and asked the master to go to the dining room, for the meal was ready. Sri Ramakrishna stood up. Now, here you find, Sri Ramakrishna stood up and said, addressing Kedar and Bijoy, these two, the spiritual leaders, they were hesitating to take food in their house. Sri Ramakrishna himself stood up, and not others were also there. He told particularly these two, come with me. If the God can go, why not devotees? So the God is going to take the food, so come with me. They followed him and partook the dinner together with other devotees. Sri Ramakrishna is breaking that unnecessarily. We cannot sit together because we are Brahmin and lower Brahmin, higher Brahmin. So many varieties of Brahmins also. Brahmins, those who are worshipping in the temple, they will never sit with other Brahmins who are practicing medicine. No, they are lower Brahmin. We are higher Brahmin. Brahmin among the Brahmins also. This is really ridiculous. And about the others, forget about. Sri Ramakrishna slowly changing it. Reformation without changing anything. So Swami Vivekananda said the dewdrop. The dewdrop is helping the best flower to bloom without making any noise. But the rain is making the noise. Dewdrop, we do not know when it comes, but that helps to bloom that flower. So just like that, slowly, he is changing the bad in the society. And after that, that man is asking, the Kedar is asking, people want to give me food. What should I do? Lord, what is your command in this matter? This is one thing that is to be really very interesting to note. The Kedar, a Brahmin, he is completely depending on Sri Ramakrishna. He is addressing him as Lord, the Master, Bhagavan. And please tell me, what is your command, your Adesh? Aapka Adesh kya hai? What is your command? So this command and Master, Sri Ramakrishna, this is a very important statement that is mentioning. One can eat food even from an untouchable if the untouchable is a devotee of God. After spending several years, he is telling from his own experiences, one can take food from the untouchable if the untouchable is a devotee of God. Now, a few days back, there was a retreat, 2 hours retreat, that young Swami, Sarvapriya, he gave that retreat. And there, on the 5 verses, Shankaracharya, again and again, taking the oath, and he is telling, this is my faith, my resolution, that even if the untouchable has realized God, he knows the Veda, he is a guru. It doesn't mean that to become a guru one should be Brahmin and one should read the Veda. Not like that. Whoever has realized God, and this is true Hinduism, we should understand that. And when the people are criticizing Hinduism, so these things should be told to them, this is real Hinduism. Other things, because it is a long time things are going on, more than 10,000 years old, this system. So naturally, different other things also entered into this body. But that is not the original. Original is this. Kedar in a low voice, Lord, please transmit power to me. Many people come to me. What do I know? The Kedar, because he's a Brahmin, he reads out the spiritual books, people come to them. This is one should understand. There was a young person in Assam. He used to read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna very nicely, the Bengali, and very nicely. And he was a Brahmin, and he knew before reading he will be taking the water and all those things. The people started touching his feet, offering food and giving him pranami, all these. Then when I came to know, I told him, don't do it. Because after a few days, you won't be able to control yourself. You will start feeling that I am a spiritual leader. And the moment the person is coming and touching your feet, know it for sure, you have to share something from him and you have to give something from you. So whatever the good thing that you have done, that you have to share with him. And you have to share some bad acts that they have done. This is the law. You cannot avoid it. Be careful. So that is what Sri Ramakrishna told to Swami Vivekananda when he was very young. So he told you have to first accumulate. Then only you can share with others. Before accumulation, you are sharing. What is it? So one must be careful. Actually, we don't see anything. So we think nothing is happening. But in reality, it is happening. And that's why sometimes we find a few days that person is progressing, all people are appreciating, and then suddenly he falls. Because all spirituality gone, and then just like a dry leaf, he'll fall. So these are the teachings. Sri Ramakrishna is telling. When he said, give me some power, Master, everything will be all right. One gets along well if one is sincerely devoted to God. Everything will be all right if you are sincerely devoted to God. Yogendra, the editor of the Bengali paper, the Bangabasi, entered the room. Editor of the Bengali, this Bangabasi was a very famous paper, and at the time of the freedom movement, it took a great lead. It is to write and publish, the small, everywhere, different type of, the different languages all around India, all over India, they used to publish. So this Bengali paper helped, entered the room. He was the editor. The conversation turned to personal God and God without form. So before that, we can find a religion actually, one fact that stands out prominently, and that is that there is an ideal or infinite power towards which mankind struggles, which cannot be realized except through self-abnegation or self-renunciation. The keynotes of all religions are the feeling of the infinite. It is true that each religion possesses its own doctrine, creeds, and rituals. There is one feature which is common to all religions, that is God. God is the center of all religions. I just was trying to understand this whether the God is center. Now Buddhism, they don't believe in God. Jainism, they don't believe in God. They believe not in God but on Dharma, this Jainis. Dharma leads to liberation, they think. And what is this Dharma? Dharma is strict asceticism, renunciation and morality. Now, it is naturally, if we understand this Jainism, is the highest practice, the last practices to realize God. It's not the common religion, it cannot be. So Chandragupta Maurya, he made it a state religion. So afterwards it was imposed on the ordinary people, general masses. Otherwise, only a chosen few, those who were practicing religion very sincerely, they used to practice like that. These Jains, the strict asceticism, we cannot imagine what type of asceticism. They will never pluck the fruits, they are not supposed to. Because the fruits are hanging from the tree. If I am plucking, I am hurting the tree. So I have to wait under the tree till it falls down. And I had to pick up the things that is already there, otherwise not. Is it possible for ordinary people to practice? And this renunciation, they will renounce everything and they will never care for their own body even. They'll be walking barefoot, without any clothes, never begging anything. And this type of renunciation we cannot imagine. And also morality, very high morality. So these are the three things that is the basis of the Jainism. And when a person can practice these three, it is for sure that they are going to realize God. There cannot be no delay for realization. But it is not for the common people to practice. It is not. So if we try to practice that, of course for that, slowly they have moderated, they can adjust, etc. But that is exactly what Jainism is. Buddhism also, they also follow dharma, not God. And Buddhism dharma is cosmic law and order, karma. Cosmic law and order it will go. And Jainism, the dharma, again, just like the Buddhism, but dharma means this asceticism, renunciation and morality. Now for the Hinduism, I am not going to the Abrahamic religion, and they all believe in God, but the concept of God is a creator and also the punisher. But I will go to the Hinduism. Behind the objects of this phenomenon world lies a changeless, permanent reality, the Supreme Brahman. This is the concept of all Hindus. Whatever we see is the phenomena, this world, the manifestation, at the back of it, there is something which is changeless. And the Vedanta, particularly Advaita Vedanta, that explains very nicely. That if there is no unchangeable thing, how can you observe the changes? So when I see that my body is changing, the body is not seeing the body, it cannot be. Something else is looking at the body and observing that it is changing. I was a little boy and slowly I am growing and all the changes I can notice, and nowadays in the modern society, the parents will be going on taking the photograph, everyday change, and they'll be keeping on the wall. And when a person comes and says, oh, I was like this, and then he can see the whole, how he himself grew up. But the truth is changing. When my body is changing, mind is changing, thoughts are also changing, everything is changing, but who is observing? So Vedanta says it is the Atman which is observing. And what is this Atman? Changeless. And they give the name Supreme Brahman, Absolute Brahman. What is this Brahman? All the time expanding. And in simple word they say consciousness all pervading. Everywhere consciousness is there. It is all pervading. Sri Ramakrishna, using this, the truth of Hinduism is making it more easy for each and every one. When one attains samadhi, that means Sri Ramakrishna is accepting the yoga. Yoga, the terminology is samadhi. And what is this samadhi? Enlightenment, not attainment of God, enlightenment. The yoga, the Patanjali Yoga Darshan, the Patanjali also found that there is a God, and he said if you accept God, it will be easy for you to get the enlightenment. Not that you have to accept God, you can get realization, or the enlightenment without God. But also, if you accept God, it will be easy for you. Through meditation on God, worshipping God, all your emotion will be one-pointed. That will help you to realize what? Enlightenment. What is the enlightenment? I am Atman. That is the enlightenment. And that is yoga. And Sri Ramakrishna, look at it. That is why he is the God of all, unity in diversity. He said, when one attains samadhi, the highest ultimate goal of the yoga, then alone comes the knowledge of Brahman, the ultimate of jnana margis, and one attains vision of God. These three. And one attains the vision of God. That means the God, the Brahman, and the enlightenment of the yogis are all same. So that is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna's realization. The Supreme Brahman, which is at the back of everything, which is nothing but the consciousness, which is all pervading, not having any form, but can take form if we want. Then here comes the Sri Ramakrishna again, and he says, God has form. Again, he is formless. This is the uniqueness of Sri Ramakrishna. For thousands of years, the Hindu philosophers, they fought on this point. Is God with form or without form? And they always will go only one view, with form, and some will say without form. And sometimes you will find that Dvaita, the Dvaita will say this is only Dvaita, only Dvaita. You are not going to believe in anything else except God is completely separate and we are completely separate. And we can never become God. That is absolute Dvaitaism. Dvaita means two. Dva, two. Dvaitism, absolute separation. God is completely separate. We are completely separate. And then what will happen? So if you go on praying to God, meditating on God, worshipping God, working for God, then maybe that He will be graceful to you. And for the God's grace, you have to wait. Just because you are worshipping the God will give the blessings, no chance. Advaita said, the pure Advaita is all, it's negative, Dvaita means two. Then there is no two, there is only one. So if it is only one, there cannot be two. This is Hinduism. And in between Ramanuj make Vishishta Dvaita. He said, Acha, qualified. Now, see that the fire, from the fire the sparks are coming out, they are also fire, part of fire. And the sparks are having all the, and just as the fire, all the qualities, all the potentialities, and naturally you cannot say the spark which is small, it is not fire, it is also fire. So that is our Ramanuja. So Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita, Advaita. And in the Advaita they say, this is like this. Shankaracharya toned down that Advaita. And he said, yes, Advaita, of course, but you can go through devotion. Because devotion, the love, the concern, the service, that is so natural in every human being. There are some people, they love to serve others. Can I cook for you? Can I bring this to you? That's so natural. And if you say, no, you should not do anything, sit straight and all the time you think that I am Brahman, I am not the body, they won't be able to make any progress in their spiritual life. So that is why slowly, all these three, Sri Ramakrishna came, he combined, and then he is solving the problem of with form and formless, and very simple way. God has form, again, he is formless. How many aspects he has, we cannot comprehend him. Why should we say that God is formless only? The discussion came because that gentleman who entered into the room, the editor, he was mentioning about the Brahma Samaj. That time Brahma Samaj, they were not going out of Hinduism, they were a Hindu body, but at the same time not Hindus. It was a peculiar situation, and they used to say, they used to read the Upanishads and also the Vedas, their base was the Veda, but at the same time they used to say, the God with form we don't believe, because the Christians were ruling that time, and the Christians say, how can you believe in God in different forms, sometimes 4, sometimes 6, sometimes 10 hands, so many heads? Is that all gods? And the educated people, mostly educated in English medium schools, so they were confused. And slowly in the whole society, they become two groups, one uneducated and traditional Hindus, and another educated modern Hindus. And these modern Hindus, it becomes a just simple practice that I do not believe in form. So all they used to say like that. And many of them, they started getting converted into pure Christianity. To stop that again, different movements started in the Hindu body, Hindu society. And Arya Samaj, Prarthana Samaj, Brahma Samaj, all these Samaj, all of them, they said, we believe in the Vedas, but not God in form. In the Veda, there are so many gods and goddesses are there. Indra, Varuna, and Agni, all the, it's okay. But God is having all the qualities, but not form. So that was the struggle. When Sri Ramakrishna in one line is mentioning God can has the form and also the formless, when we read, we don't understand how much struggle was going on. And for so many thousands of years, hundreds of years, and people, they were separated. If someone is a Vedantin, they will never allow the Dvaitin to come over there. And Dvaitin will never ever go to visit. They are completely different. Even to give the marriage to the daughter to somebody's house, they will ask, what is your religion? They are all Hindus. They are all Brahmins. Suppose a Brahmin family marrying the daughter to another Brahmin family, but they will go and ask, what is your religion? And if they say Dvaitism, sorry, thank you, they'll go away. Why? Because we are Advaitin. Okay. So like these, that was the society. Now we won't be able to understand why I am talking, because to understand the society, Tiden society, and Sri Ramakrishna mentioned it. To whom? Not an ordinary person. An editor of a newspaper. An editor of a newspaper, if he gets convinced and he has the power to write, then through him thousands of people will know, and this is Sri Ramakrishna. So that's why now I am giving the talk, they are recording it, within 10 minutes it will be online available. And maybe different people sitting in different places, they will put it on, and oh, we were listening to you. Sri Ramakrishna had no opportunity for that. So, but he never cared for that too, because he was God and he knew it is going to reach out to each and every corner. And anyone sincerely striving to realize God is going to listen to Sri Ramakrishna, because that is true religion, the broadness. God is everything, everywhere. God has form, again He is formless. How many aspects He has? We cannot comprehend Him. Why should we say that God is formless only? Now there is a question. The moment I say that God is formless, then what happens? I am dictating God that you cannot take the form. If I say God eats only this thing, I am imposing those things on God. God God is all powerful. God is all pervading. Can't He take any form? Then how can you say that He is all powerful? All powerful means anything He can do. Sometimes we are having the difficulty with the Kashmir, a plot of land in India, and the province, a part of it with the Pakistan and the India. It is going on for 70 years. And every time the Indian prime ministers or the president or the authority, they like to go over there to celebrate Indian Independence Day. And the flag will be hoisted over there. Why? Because this is our part. That is the reason. And the small part is there, another corner, that is called Arunachal Pradesh. China is claiming that that part is ours. And when the Indian Prime Minister or President going, China is protesting. Hey, that is our part, why should we visit? They don't, we will go. If I can't visit as a President of India or Prime Minister, that means that part doesn't belong to me. I can go anywhere. Otherwise, in our map, I cannot show it. Similarly, the moment we say God is all powerful, and that very moment we have to accept God can be in form, God can be without form, it is God's power. We have nothing to say. Yogendra, that is the one amazing thing about the Brahma Samaj. There even a boy, 12 years old, sees God as formless. He is making fun out of that. The members of the Adi Samaj do not object very much to God with form. They are allowed to attain ritualistic worship if it takes place in respectable families. Brahma Samaj, there was first beginning. So Adi means the beginning. And then they had a split. So there's another. Then finally the third one, Sadharan Brahma Samaj. The Swami Vivekananda, when he was young, he was the member of Sadharan Brahma Samaj. That was the prestigious. Then when you go to the Sadharan Brahma Samaj, then, and a time came, in Bengal particularly, when educated people, they used to think, I have read the books of Aurobindo. Understand or not, but reading the Aurobindo's books means it's a prestige in the society. Then they will be asking, have you read the Aurobindo's mother, Aurobindo's these? If you have not read, oh okay, you have not read. So you have to read, whether you understand or not, to say I have. And not only that, if you go to the higher society, when they are talking, and they will be, suddenly they, what book you are reading now? That is the culture. And when you go to the other societies like the farmers and others, they'll be telling, hey, what about the grains, how much grain is coming, what are the things that you're using, that is their talk. But if you go to the family like that, respectable families, you have to talk about that. You have to know. Otherwise you won't be able to communicate. And you have noticed that most of the schools nowadays, they are teaching the young boys in different games. Because when they become grown up, if they are in a very high position, maybe someday they have to go and have a meeting with another one, CEO, with the table tennis, or maybe in the golf. And if you don't know how to play golf, if you don't know what, for us it is the bat, because of the cricket, but it is not bat. This is something else you have to know. So all these things, otherwise you won't be able to mix in that. So same way here, in the Brahma Samaj, Adi Brahma Samaj, they used to accept God with form to some extent, and then they allowed their members to visit the ritualistic things that are happening in other respectable families. But next, they allowed, no, you cannot go. The master smiling, how nicely he has put it. Even a boy sees formless God. The Shivanath Babu does not believe in God's form. The another person is still order. Shivanath, he was also another leader of the Brahma Samaj. He never. Kedar, God assumes forms for the sake of his devotees. This is a very good statement that Kedar is making. And Bijoy and all others, they are sharing their different experiences. Through ecstatic love, a devotee sees God with form. Dhruva had a vision of the Lord. He said, "Why don't your earrings move?" That is the story of the Dhruva. And the Hindus, they believe that it is not simply a story. That is the fact, that is the history. So when a devotee, he was realizing God, the God appeared before him and he saw, then the devotee noticed the earrings is not moving. Then are you not original? Are you not living? Come before me like that. There are so many stories are there. That there was a dacoit, and I will take another 2-3 minutes. And this guy, he was listening to a Bhagavata. And the people all over the India, they will be reading the Bhagavad and explain. And Bhagavat Pandit, they always say. So they were listening. And there, the teacher, he was explaining this Krishna and his brother Balaram with all different jewelries. They always come out, their mothers will put the all jewelry. And particularly Krishna is having very, very precious stone that will be on the top of his head and his mother decorating them. And they come and play and they'll be playing the flute also. When all people went away, this man asked that, "Yeah, is it true? Truly that they come like that?" "Yes, they come and they play. It is written in the Bhagavad. So I am telling you. Is this really costly?" "Yes." Then this man was calculating. Instead of going here and there, it is so risky. If we go and catch these two young boys who are alone coming without the company of their parents, it will be so easy for me, and all through my life I need not to do all this work. I'll be so rich. So he asked where they can come. Just to avoid this man, the Pandit told, "If you go in the deep jungle, they live over there." Well, just to avoid. And when he left, Pandit was happy. Somehow I could get rid of him and he will go to the deep jungle, let him go and suffer. This man with great devotion. But the Pandit told, very few people can hear the sound of the flute. Because the little boy, he is playing, you have to be very attentive. And the boy, his dress is like this, his brother is like this, their complexions are like this. So all description. This man was going on remembering each and everything the Pandit said. He was not thinking anything else. Constant meditation on the form of God. And then complete attention, not a single sound. So that he should not miss the sound of the flute that Krishna is playing. Then only you'll be able to understand from which side these two boys are coming. See, you went in the deep jungle and he was waiting. There was an open up. So inside the jungle, he thought the boys will play. So this ground is necessary to play. They must be coming over here. So let me sit under a tree, hiding myself and wait. It went whole night past. Then the day broke. And in the early dawn, he saw, sound is coming. Somebody is playing the flute. And it's so sweet. His mind was going to the flute, but he said, "No, I have come to grab those two boys and to snatch all the jewelries from them. I should not meditate on the sound." He was almost going to sleep. So he woke up and slowly he went, and truly, as per the description of the Pandit, that the teacher of the Bhagavata, he saw the two brothers are coming. He went to them and took out a dagger and he said, "Hey, give me all the jewelries that you are putting on, and otherwise I will kill you." The Balaram, the elder brother, was standing quietly. And the junior one, he told, "See, I have a flute, that I can give. But the jewelries, it belongs to my mother. Mother gave it to me. I cannot give it all this. Flute, What can I do with that flute? I don't need the flute, but I need all the jewelries. If you don't give, then I will hurt you. Then the Krishna, the little boy said, then you have to come and snatch it from us. You have to touch me. Otherwise, I cannot give it to you because Mother told to be careful about all this, the jewelries. If I keep, then what I will tell to my mother? So conversation went. This man went to take those things. The moment he touched him, immediately he became just like stone. His complete body became stiff, but a great joy in the mind. He stood over there. Then after some time, these young two boys patted him and said, hey, you wanted to take away this thing. But anyway, there is no much time, I have to go back. Come tomorrow. Same thing happened the second day. Then come tomorrow. And the third day, then he said, you want this thing? I will give. And he truly gave many, many gold and other things, very costly. That man came back to Pandit and said, so I have got all this. You see, they have given it to me. And I have seen these two brothers. They're so beautiful. And they're so gentle, so courteous. And I cannot forget them. Whenever I am closing my eyes, I see them standing before my eyes. Thank you. The Pandit told, are you true? Have you seen it? I only said like that. But do you think, then he showed all these jewelries, very costly. Pandit told, can you please take me over there? And he told, come, I can show you. They both of them, they waited for the night. Next morning, then these two boys came and seeing him, he told, hey, we gave all our things to you. Why you have come again? Now this, our teacher, he wants to see you both. He is not believing that you have given it to me. But teachers used to say, with whom you are talking? There is no one here. You can't see these two boys. Then he said, no, I cannot see. Then this man told, oh, I think you two are gods. So please reveal yourself so the teacher will see, otherwise he won't believe. Then this man told, by concentrating on us and meditating on us, your mind has become pure. For that is the reason you could see us, because you are simple, but your teacher is not. But anyway, since you have brought him over here, they will hear our voice, but he won't be able to see us. The faith, belief, concentration, complete dedication, that makes our mind purified. The moment it is purified, we can see God. Maybe, if we want, in form, and maybe without form. Thank you very much. Please chant this after me. Niranjanam Nityam Anantarupam Bhaktanukampa Drita Vigraham Vai Ishavattaram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Sirasa Namah. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanavastu.